I was going to go to university. At 14, I was on a clear path as an aspiring entrepreneur and musician. But in April 2020, I experienced the devastation of gender-based violence and homicide, and everything changed. My aunt became one of the 22 victims in the largest mass shooting in Canadian history. And this tragedy shattered my world, turning me from a social, lively young girl into someone struggling with OCD, anxiety, and crippling body dysmorphia.
Unfortunately, Sophia's reality is not unique. Nearly 2/3 of young adults report experiencing a traumatic event, and 75% of post-secondary students report struggling with mental health.
In fact, mental health issues cost the Canadian economy over $50 billion annually, underscoring the need for action.
Young adults often face suffocating pressure, often without the time or the tools to cope.
For educators, the struggle is different, but it's just as challenging. Many find themselves on the front lines of these issues without proper training or resources to support their students effectively. When my life fell apart, it felt as though my problems were controlling my future. So at 14, I realized the need for better mental health support to ensure lifelong resilience. And I began creating tools for teens by a teen.
These tools include public speaking initiatives, professional trainings for educators in trauma literacy and mindfulness, and customizable mental health kits.
These practices were developed with experts in their field, like trauma specialist Jenny Kirsten, cognitive behavioral therapist Blair Abbas, and specialist in social emotional learning, Catherine Reiki.
This way, schools can be confident that they are providing their students with these credible and proven strategies.
The peer-to-peer connection that our presentations offer is truly our secret to success. In just one presentation, 85% of youth reported feeling less alone and better equipped to deal with life's challenges.
Each presentation contains a 10-minute evidence-based practice that can clip onto students' backpacks for easy access. Enactus has amplified these tools to spread mental health and resilience across campus.
We've had the powerful opportunity to present to the New Brunswick Teachers Union, the Center of Excellence for Health, leading universities, schools across the Maritimes, and major corporations. Having reached over 10,000 students with testimonials from over 50 educators, it is apparent that these practices work.
In the past 6 months, our Enactus team has added to these incredible figures by bringing these life-changing tools to the Annapolis Valley regional community. We've done this through live panels, presentations to classes, workshops, and even added content directly to course syllabi.
One participant said, "This presentation has given me permission to share my own personal pain I have been carrying in secret for as long as I can remember. It has given me hope. And knowing the impact we are having on our community, we are not stopping here."
We're building partnerships with the Annapolis Valley Regional Center for Education to ensure every school in that district has access to these powerful methods.
Additionally, we're collaborating with local leaders and not-for-profits, and we're creating workshops for professors on campus.
We have currently begun creating an online community with self-paced webinars and resources that will be available as immediate and confident support for students experiencing trauma, along with webinars directed towards teachers so they can utilize these transformative tools to help create trauma-informed classroom spaces.
By next year, we aim to expand to all school districts in Atlantic Canada, enabling us to reach at least 30,000 more students.
By addressing mental health head-on, we're creating a ripple effect by building stronger students, more confident educators, and a more connected community.
With your support, we can amplify this impact and make innovative mental health resources the cornerstone of education.
Together, let's transform the lives of youth through the power of resilience. We are Enactus Acadia.
judges. Just remember that only judges may ask questions. Judges, please raise your hand if you have a question.
Great presentation. I'm curious, for your estimated reach of 10,000 students, what kind of evidence do you have that those 141 educators actually implemented that training within the classroom?
Yes, very good question. So I think the need is there. And if they're coming to our presentations and our sessions, they're willing to implement this within the classroom. They're paying for these tools. And they see the need within the classroom. They recognize their students are dealing with trauma and mental health, and they want to support them to the best of their abilities. So there is evidence, and we have testimonials, 50+ educators that have told us, you're transforming the lives of our students. We're building safer communities and safer spaces for these students to grow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, go ahead.
What are your guys' plans for after Enactus? Do you see yourself scaling this and keeping going with it, turning it into more of a business?
I think for me, definitely it's very personal to my life. And actually before Enactus, I had been doing these presentations, and collaborating with Enactus has just allowed me to amplify this. Especially within a university setting, I think that's so important to have these trauma-informed practices and mental health resources for students, because we all know university is so stressful. And I think in the future, for me, this is just a lifelong passion. With the online webinars and resources, this is a scalable business that we can constantly be updating with informed research, and definitely something that I would like to continue. Yes, go ahead.
You described a really noble plan to expand to school districts in the area. Can you discuss your concrete steps or your strategy there? That sounded
Yes.
really impressive, just the
Yes.
scale that you were targeting.
For sure. So we're actually very lucky to be collaborating with Yoga in Schools. And Yoga in Schools is a phys ed elective, and they are in a lot of the schools across the Atlantic regions. So because they already have this presence within the schools, it's easier to then have access to all of these different districts. And the important thing that I really want to make mention of is that these tools are really important, but you need to move the trauma through the body. That's how you see post-traumatic growth, and that's why we're collaborating with Yoga 11, because that way students can use these tools and the transformative practice of yoga. Thank you. Sure. Yes.
You may have already mentioned this, but can you provide a bit of clarity on the impact that you have made just from this year alone?
Yes, for sure. So we've presented to 350 students just this year alone. And then on top of that, we trained 141 educators. Now, we have to project and estimate this, but if we say that every educator teaches about 5 classes, classes cap out at 22 people, that means they're reaching approximately 100 students, meaning that we are then reaching about 10,000 students. And our goal for next year just means we have to double that. So,
Wonderful.
thank you.
Can you describe what's in your mental health kits?
Yeah, so I actually have one right here. It's pretty basic stuff that anyone can apply. We don't want it to be too complex, because these are mental health kits that you can pull out when you're in times of struggle, and we want the students to have very clear step-by-step processes of how they can implement these tools. So there's a step-by-step process developed with our specialists on how to move through a panic attack. I mean, I've had panic attacks all the time before tests, and I wish I had something like this in my back pocket.
Your time has expired. Thank you, Acadia University, for working with